Yo, PokeFam, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be continuing our series on set reviews for every set that Pokemon has released in 2024. The first release set that we covered was Paldean Fates. If you haven't checked out that video, I'll leave a link in the description. For this second set, we're going to be going over Temporal Forces, and we're going to be covering three different things. One, how has the performance been in the entire year since the set released? Two, what's the current growth of this set and how is it performing leading up to 2025? And then three, finally, we're going to look at, is this something that we should continue to invest in or pull back from our portfolio when we're looking into the new year? So with that being said, as you can see in the screen, Temporal Forces was released in March 22nd of 2024. It has 160 cards, which is pretty healthy for a new set like this. And overall, when looking at the set, the A-Spec trainers made its return. You had 6 trainers, cards, and also 1 special energy as an A-Spec card. You also had new ancient and future Pokemon, which we'll go into here in just a moment. And then obviously more than a dozen brand new Pokemon EXs that made their return and shifting that type to Terra Pokemon EX. Let's take a look at the current performance of this set. So diving into TCG Player, a lot of strong growth, just to be honest with you. I mean, when you take a look at the Build and Battle display box, you can get 10 of these for $141.53. You have good, solid movement within the booster box. And obviously, we'll dig a little bit deeper into the specific cards, but you can see really positive growth and the right swing of things after this set has just been released. To be honest, with this set, it's one of my top tier sets in Scarlet and Violet for this most recent year of 2024. I used to not really dig the whole ancient and future aspect of the Pokemon when they first released this, but then over time, it definitely grew on me. So with that being said, we'll take a look at our first product. It is going to be the Temporal Forces Booster Box, and it is currently selling on TCG Player for $134.93 unopened. We have the yearly performance. So when this set released, this was pre-sale, it was selling for $141.63. The MSRP for booster boxes are usually around that 160 mark. So looking at that, getting sold 8 during that time frame is not too crazy. And then you saw a little bit of a dip here, obviously, when the set first came out, because there was a difference between supply versus demand there. Much more supply as the set was released. And then it continuously kind of grew and dipped and down to that $100 mark. And then, as you see on the screen, around that September mark is when everything started to change. And then you saw a really big increase in price over time. So September to the end of September was $116. Now in October was $117. And then here we are having that huge jump from the end of October to the beginning of November at $130, almost meeting the high of $141 that we talked about for the pre-sale. For now, this booster box, again, at that $139, $140 mark. And now it is currently at $135. When on TCG Player, you have a couple of already listed. So you have one for $124 that looks like just individual packs there. Again, individual packs there for $125. But as you can see down below, the overall booster boxes are still at $135 or $134 in some change. Now, taking a look at the exclusive ETBs that Pokemon Center always releases for each set. And again, if you haven't watched my previous videos, if you are sleeping on those ETBs or just not sure if that is a best impact for your investments, I definitely am here to tell you that it is a really great option and a really safe bet on investing into those products and seeing those products not only grow, but also just expand your collection like we do. So for this ETB, we have the Walking Weight exclusive Pokemon Center ETB going for $90. At the beginning of the pre-sale, it was at $150. Two sold for $149. And then again, the set kind of died down and the supply was just definitely there. Demand obviously also wasn't there. You could just easily buy these on PokemonCenter.com for the MSRP. I'll pop that back on the screen right here if you guys aren't familiar with it. So through June to July, it was around $68 to $70, and continuing to go into the fall of this year for September, October, and now sitting at November, December at $80. Do I think that this ETB is going to continue to go up? Absolutely. It's currently sold out on PokemonCenter.com. The only Pokemon Center ETBs that we have up, on their website right now is Twilight Masquerade, which recently had a big restock, and then you have I think maybe Shrouded Fable and one other set. So $90 is what the TCG has at the moment on their website, but again, for the market price, it is sitting at $79.64. And then you have a few sitting at $89.99, $90, $95, $85.99, $98, etc. Really a great looking ETB. The Pokemon exclusive ETBs, they had kind of looked into two different versions. You have an Evolving Skies, you have the Chilling Rain. That's when you started seeing one ETB for this Pokemon, another version of the ETB for this Pokemon, and Temporal Forces obviously did the same here. So with that being said, now that we've already walked over Walking Wake, no pun intended, you have the Iron Leaves ETB. So the Iron Leaves ETB, in my opinion, I'm just a fan of the Walking Wake. I like the dogs. I like the three different aspects of them as far as, Suicune, and then you had Raikou and Entei. Iron Leaves is still not a bad Pokemon, and obviously to what we said in the very beginning of this video, Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box is always going to be a safe bet. So this ETB is at $82.98. Just looking at the overall year performance, again, very similar to Walking Wake ETB. It started off at $149 and then slowly but surely started to dip as demand started to die and supply was pretty healthy. So throughout the year, you had it sitting at $65 to $67, and then moving up to the mid 70s, and then that's where we're at currently is the high 70s for market price of $77.44. 17 listings on TCG Player, so it's actually really healthy at the moment for listings. So you have 82, 98, 75, 73, 90, 98, 93, 89, etc. So really good, decent pricing here for us. And do I think, again, these two boxes are going to be over that $100 mark? Absolutely, if you haven't pulled the trigger already, or if you're just debating if this set is the right set for you, I'll leave that up to you. But in my opinion, if you're really interested in this set, Temporal Forces, I would pull the trigger right now before they continue to go up in value. Now we're going to take a look at the specific cards that are doing really well in this set. I know we touched on more of the sealed product, which I'm a big fan of sealed product. I know there's also kind of like a debate. What should you really invest in as far as it's going to give you the most return in investment? Is it going to be sealed product? Is it going to be individual cards? It can vary and just slightly differ depending on what that Pokemon is, what the condition of that card. And then also it can vary for sealed product too on what's going to be the most easiest product to protect. If you have those Sea and Sky boxes that we went over in our first video, pop that image over here. Those are really large boxes and sometimes very difficult to try to protect against dents or rips. So in my opinion, the safe bet is going to be the sealed product over the specific cards. But again, it just really depends on the set and also the Pokemon that you're really collecting. I'll leave that up to you all in this video. Let me know down in the comments as well. Are you more of a single card collector, or do you lean in kind of like the sealed product side of things when it comes to your collection, like myself? Going back to the specific cards, Iron Crown is actually a really beautiful card. It's selling currently at $65.05 on the market. The current market price is at $60.21. The very beginning of this set was released. It hit a time high of $80 and some change. And then very similar to the sealed product, that supply and demand came out. People were still readily available with the product, started opening up cards, which decreased the value of this, obviously. And now you can see them out of stock on Pokemon Center. And really, people are investing and really looking towards the future of 2025. Prismatic Evolution. We covered the God Packs. We covered Terrestrial Festival. We covered the Sumbreon, the Evolutions that are coming out in that set. A lot of people are really eyeing that down and trying to invest and hold their capital for 2025 exclusively when that set drops. So you can see when that happens and the market shifts to a different set, Temporal Forces and some others in the early beginning sets of 2024 could start to creep up and slightly rise. So definitely be on the lookout when someone kind of shifts their buying power over to another set. You could probably pick up a couple other sets that are not as popular or not in the moment popularity and jump on them really quickly. 29 listings here. Some are Japanese, some are English. So again, that's just TCG Player for you. Really not a way to individualize your search or filter out those cards, but I'll digress on that. You know my feelings on TCG Player. You have 65 lightly played, 74 near mint, 74 near mint, 78, 79, and 80 near mint listings for this card. It is a great card. We pulled it ourselves, and I don't have any poor things to say about it. You can see the future aspect of it there for the Iron Crown, which is, in my opinion, a really good move for Pokemon, and I'm glad they necessarily did that. So with that, I know we talked about the future Pokemon. Let's go over the ancient cards now. This is going to be the overall chase card within this set, which is going to be Raging Bolt. Now, when the first dogs came out, I was on the fence. Like I told you in the very beginning of this video, I didn't know how I felt on the look and the feel of the design for the Pokemon, but it's really grown on me. I don't know if it's grown on you all. Definitely let me know. The Raging Bolt card is a great one, to be honest. It's selling at $174 right now for a listing that you can pick this up, but the market price, okay, is at $109, and you can see that very easily on eBay and other markets as well. So it did finally hit over that $100 mark for this card. Someone wanting it for $174.95 is a little bit of a stretch. Looking at the performance of this card, it released at $76, but you could pre-sell it you could buy it when it first came out for $52.98. 11 items sold for $54 to $55. Again, I think people were a little shy of the design of this Pokemon, not necessarily seen as like, this is a great card, beautiful card, when it looks to like an alt art Rayquaza or an alt art Umbreon, but this SIR has done really well in the overall growth. So you see in April and May going up dramatically from $50 to $80 to $99 in May. And then again, like we talked about in our other cards, it just slowly but surely decreased because of the supply, and really the demand wasn't there for those cards, and then shot back up. You can see this card has had amazing growth over, let's say, the past few months, from October being at $72 to now being at $102. Again, hitting that $100 mark. Let's keep going down the road for the legendary dogs. So we know we just talked about the Raging Bolt. Now we're going to go over Walking Wake. Sitting currently at $74.89 that you can pick this up. The market price, however, again, is at $62.45 right over here. You see these big jumps here in a lot of different ways, but again, same for each card that we've already been over. You see them slowly but surely climbing up for the end of the years going into 2025. It is definitely a strong and healthy set as far as value goes. And for me, I think the demand is always going to continue to grow for this. It's a great looking set at the moment for 2025. So currently it was sitting at 56.97 for March and into the March timeframe. Then it dipped down to that April. And then again, around that September, October mark, it starts jumping up really quickly over to the 62. But its lowest point was $37.47. 80 of these cards sold for under $40. Absolutely insane. Great come up for those folks, and hopefully it built their collection and they have one more card that's building their, master set, or it's just a good looking card in general. You have a couple of different listings here. Looks like 35 as low as 39.50. That's again a Japanese set. So looking at the English, you have 58.70, 58.70, 63.99, 64.98. These listings you would have to take a look at for photos, making sure that if you're going to be grading these cards, it's going to look at a PSA 10 or even at BGS, whichever you're feeling, whether it's CGC. The artwork of the card, I really enjoy it. Again, it's an agent card. It's got that great looking feel as far as like a dinosaur effect. Same for the Raging Bolt, the Walking Wake, and also our next card that we're going to be going over. In my opinion, I absolutely want to get all three of them. So let's go into that right now. Gorging Fire has that ancient feel with the Entei vibe, with a little bit of a dinosaur mix. Great looking card, beautiful card, just like Raging Bolt and Walking Wake. Currently, the market price is at $49.68. The most recent sale is $89.93, and you can also pick it up right now for $89.93. Do I think this is a $90 card? Absolutely not at the moment, but it definitely can keep creeping up. So let's look at the actual value in the market price history. We had some sell at $49.68. One sold just recently, but when it first came out, it was around $51.43. So you can see that the performance of this card is slowly popping back up to when it first came out, and the popularity was right there involved with this. And with the past cards, you see this up and down view again. So hitting from $40 to $39 in May to June, and then July to August, same type of dip and rise from that 30 to 40 mark. And then, like we said, September to October, this set was a little bit harder to find. And also with this set, it's hard pull rates. I mean, I've opened, I can't tell you how many packs of Temporal Forces trying to pull Raging Bolt. I just like pulling the card that I'm wanting to see and wanting to collect rather than purchasing it online. I know it is a smarter and easier way to do that. Some cards, obviously, we do. But for the lower end cards that haven't really broke 100 or just isn't at that mark that's pretty easy to pull, we'll do that. And with Temporal Forces, we thought we could do that. Boy, were we wrong. A lot of hard pull rates in this set, and it just wasn't really readily available in our stores currently. So that's when you see this obviously uptick to now we're in December for almost $50. Really great movement, really great all three looking cards. Let's take a look at the listing. We have 20 listings at the moment. You have from $49.99, from $49 even. We have some in our 50s from $53.80, $52, $55, etc. So not a bad looking card, and all three of them will be absolutely a good pickup for your collection, whether it's the Raging Bolt, whether it's the Walking Wake, or a fan favorite for the Gorging Fire. The last Pokemon that I want to look at is kind of an interesting one for this set. It's not a SIR, but it is an illustration rare. So it is the Ghastly 177162 in Temporal Forces. This card is currently at a $31.29 market price. You can pick this up right now for $34.89 on TCG Player. And you had some really big peaks and valleys with this card's performance. It was sitting at $30 and some change all the way up to, I remember this card selling to $50+ dollars. Everyone wanted this in the PSA 10. When this card got released in Temporal Forces, you had a big wave of your Gengar fans. You had a big wave of your Ghastly fans wanting to collect this card. And then really quickly, you saw that drop down to $18 to $16 at a low. So this card and its lowest was at 107 items sold for $16 and some change. Again, if that was one of your all's pickup, let me know down in the comments. That is absolutely wild. And then you had another peak here for $33.71. But again, my peak that I saw this card at was almost in the 55s to almost $60. Now, currently it is at $31.29. So something that we can pick up on and actually collect in this set. I have a couple of copies of this set this card. I think it's only going to continue to go up. Let's take a look at the listings down below. So you have some heavily played. Let's look at the lightly played listings. You have one for $23.10, $22.94, $24.10. Really great value for me in this card. It's going to be great. I'm going to send mine off to get graded. Hopefully we'll get that PSA 10. Let me know down in the comments which one you are focusing in on. And overall, how has this set been performing in the year? Like we said, it had a little bit of peak and valley, but you can see that slowly moving up. It's done an amazing job at the end of the year, and its current growth is only going to continue to rise. Do I think this is something that we should invest in, or that I'm going to invest in? Absolutely. We already have picked up 3 packs and our sealed sleeve blisters, which I'll pop up on the screen. And booster boxes obviously don't hurt. So if you can pick them up at $135 currently, where the market price is at, I can only continue to see those rising up to that 160, probably that MSRP moving into 2025. And again, don't forget Prismatic Evolution is coming out earlier this year. So that might be a great pivot for you to move on to a different set when you have everyone focusing on one. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning into the video. And with that being said, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.